One of the most transformative experiences that I've ever encountered in my entire existence in this realm has been through fasting. So, to put things in perspective, I've already been fasting for a year, and basically, already towards the end of last year, I was guided to do a dry fast just to let go of a lot of things within and just to detox. But I felt like I was being called to detox holistically, mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically. It's all linked anyway, it's all energy, but I was just called within to undergo renewal, remembrance, and letting go. And recently what I did was a 3.5 day dry fast. And to be honest, it's been the most transformative thing I've ever done. It's renewed me at so many deep levels that I didn't know existed, that I didn't know were possible. And what kind of drove me to do it as well was we're 70% water, right? And there's this beautiful documentary, it's called The Secret of Water, which highlights how magical water is. Water literally stores memory. All water you drink, all water within you has memory. So anything you've gone through in your life, to some degree, is stored with the water within you. Now the real question is, how do you renew the waters within? Now, any type of detoxing is probably going to help to some degree. Any type of fasting is going to help to some degree. But in my own opinion, the quickest way to get there is dry fasting. Because when you do dry fasting, basically what happens is your body is forced to burn fat at a faster rate, essentially. And without going too deep into the scientific mechanics, as it's undergoing this fat breakdown process, basically the fat cells release its own water. And there are many other levels to it. Basically, throughout that whole chemical process, as you breathe in oxygen, your body also reacts to create water. So as part of that process, it also forces your body to go into overdrive and basically break down any tissues or any cells which aren't serving you. So now your body basically, and throughout this whole process, your body is literally creating new water and getting rid of any old water because you're not consuming any water. And part of the autophagy cell renewal process, your body's going to get rid of all the old water within. And as that fat breaks down, as all those beautiful processes happen, you're literally creating new water within. So to look at that from a metaphysical level, you're letting go of a lot of old memories and old emotions and old energy stored in your inner water, and you're creating beautiful new water through the power of God, through the breath. I've obviously given you a spiritual lens, but I've also run through the scientific lens. The beautiful thing about this process is it's really happening at every level. You can choose to look at it from the scientific lens if that suits you more. You can choose to look at it through the metaphysical lens if that suits you more. There's no right or wrong. The key here is to dive into truth. Do you want to undergo a renewal process? Do you want to undergo a remembrance process? Not at a surface level. Not at a surface level. At the deepest level within, at a cellular level, at a spiritual level, at an energetic level, at the deepest core of who you are, the truth of who you are, pure unconditional love. That's how deep this process goes, and I was surprised. I set intention when I did this whole thing. I literally set intention to not come back the same person, to basically renew myself holistically. And I didn't actually think it would have cleansed me as deeply as it did. I can't say I returned back the same in any capacity. You know, from a perceptual capacity, the way I see things, an energetic capacity, physical, mental, spiritual, on every plane, I do not feel the same. I feel renewed in all capacities. And it's so funny, all I did was nothing. All you're doing in a dry fast is you're doing nothing. You're not eating, you're not drinking. What I chose to do is draw in my own energy cultivation through pretty much doing meditation every day, qigong every day. But it was the most divine process, and I don't want to focus too much on, I guess, the scientific side and the experiential side. I want to just try keep this punchy so that if anyone has been called to do this, they can get to what the experience was in a fairly quick way. So maybe just to begin, I'll start with the physical level. So to put things in perspective, over the last 10 years, I've not woken up once. Probably this maybe 1 or 2 times, but literally I barely ever wake up with energy. I always used to sleep in. I always used to just feel like I was lacking energy. Never knew why. And this was even as I've been doing the water fasting, the intermittent fasting. I just always felt like I never woke up refreshed, you know. And I'd often sometimes sleep like 8-9 hours. I always just felt like I needed to recuperate. After this process, quite honestly, I wake up so much earlier. I wake up with so much more energy. And I've never had that in my entire life. I've not been able to breathe through my nose for a very, very long time. I've had all these allergies. That's already improved through the water fasting, but this dry fasting also took that to a new level. I feel like for the first time I can actually breathe through my nose when I'm sleeping. Maybe that's part of why I'm waking up with energy. I had stomach surgery about 10 years ago. As a whole now, genuinely speaking, I can feel in my stomach there's been such beautiful healing there that I didn't even know needed to happen. I can feel the scar tissue kind of healed. I can feel my digestion's way better. I can just feel like everything's reset. And then at an actual physiological level, in terms of just, I guess, how I feel mentally, my clarity's through the roof, my overall energy, well-being, I just feel renewed, and I just feel like it's natural. I can't even explain that. It's almost like this body, this spaceship of a body or meat suit or however you want to see it, basically got an upgrade. But the upgrade didn't necessarily feel like an upgrade. It actually just felt like my vessel was returning to the state it was in. So yeah, I guess to sum up the physical side, clarity is amazing, sleep's better, pretty much even in terms of like joint. Oh, the other thing is my jogging. And I don't know if this is due to the mucus clearing because my sinus is cleared. I don't know if this also had a lung issue or a lung detox. My jogging has improved so much. Like I've hit times I've not hit in 3 years. It's the fittest I felt. It's the most energetic I felt when I'm jogging. So that's been a huge area as well. It feels like honestly, if you told me go jog 20 kilometers right now, I'd back myself to do it quite easily. Like I just feel like there's this new vitality in my lung system. So I don't know if that's to do with the mucus which got cleared or what it is. So that's the physical side. Now, the next two parts I really want to focus on, which were the key driving factors as to why I did this, was the emotional, spiritual, energetic, whatever lens you want to look at it at. It's all linked. So throughout that process, it was really hard. There's a lot of people like pitching dry fasting and they say, oh yeah, like obviously I've started with the benefits and you should always look at it that way. Like in my experience, the benefits outweigh the costs substantially, but I want to give an honest picture here. I don't want to just paint that it was all sunshine and rainbows. I feel like these physical benefits I'm talking about came at the end of the fast once I had completely finished the process. But yeah, the emotional, spiritual, and physical and energetic side, yeah, I can't even really put it in words, and I don't want to commoditize this process but yeah, it's been the most beautiful experience I've ever undergone. The most beautiful experience I've ever undergone, because it was really hard though. So maybe I'll give a full blended picture. It was probably the most intense thing I've ever done. As I was doing this process, a lot of past stuff came up. I'm talking like from when I was a kid. I just felt like a lot of emotional, mental debris, old thought patterns, old energetic patterns. It's almost like your subconscious becomes more accessible, and it's almost coming up now as that water clears within. All of that other old material is being cleared simultaneously. But part of this also means facing it. Like I made a point of, to make this process easier for myself. It's easier and harder at the same time because you face more, but I made a point of cultivating as much energy as I could, because you're not getting water and food. So you need to draw on prana from some source. And what really works for me is meditation, qigong. I did some walks, very little, because I feel like you need to really take it slow, but it was really intense. I had to face a lot of stuff came up. Like there were days where I just finished a meditation, I just wanted to go to bed. I just had enough. And I've been quite experienced in alchemy, but it took it to a level where, and I think it's proportionate to the healing which happens, right? But I want to be honest, like it was the hardest thing I ever did. Emotionally, there were some days I just felt like it's just like a lot of emotional pain, right? It's almost like a lot of pain you didn't know you were storing within is now coming up. And the beautiful thing is, as it's coming up, you're watching it. So this is what's interesting. You're a lot more aware. So throughout this whole process, your observational capacity spikes substantially. So it's almost like you have more bandwidth, right? Because you're not digesting. Realistically, you're not drinking. So all of your energy, you have more bandwidth. So now when you're looking at things, it's like the more you see, the more you see. You're more in touch with your energy field. My energy field looks so much more expanded. So like, if you like finish grounding, I'm like grounding right now. I can see my energy field expand. But like when I was doing this drive, I was like, I've never felt my energetic field that spacious. And what makes it interesting is like, whilst it's spacious, you're also seeing more. So it's a beautiful experience, but then you're also seeing the patterns more closely. So any emotional debris, any pain, any heaviness, any dread, any fear, any existential thought patterns, any deep questions which have brought you pain, any past traumas, physical, mental, emotional, those all came up, and it was overwhelming. All this stuff came up at the same time. Yeah, as I say, I do feel grounding helped me a lot. So like I was doing, like 3 hours of grounding a day. I literally was up in Fiji when I did this. So it was so beautiful. I had the beach, I had nature around me the whole time. I had a good humidity level, which helped a lot. So I was just alchemizing all of this stuff through grounding, through doing a lot of that stuff, but it was intense. And I think that's what this process does, right? Like it brings up everything within you, which has happened, whether you've partly faced, whether you haven't faced, it's going to bring it up. So I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I'm not going to act like, and maybe each experience is different. Like I know some people have done this process. I don't know if they've had it, but in every deep fasting experiences I've done, the benefit is always so amazing and it is always so worth it. But I'm not going to lie and say it's sunshine and rainbows. So this was a big part of that fast, which I did. It was really facing the dread I had within, which I think had just been from a past experience. Like this whole realm, the whole earth realm, I never felt like I belonged here. And that was really from a young age. And a lot of those stories came up, which was quite interesting. A lot of like old intrusive thoughts I had came up. It was just interesting. It was an unraveling. It's this whole unraveling. And I would say the key feelings, and what was so interesting is just from an energetic perspective, I could feel the renewal going on within. So like I felt in my heart space and my throat space, I could feel the energy unwinding. I could feel the healing happening, like that renewal happening. And that was so beautiful. Like I could feel it renewing. I could feel like these bursts of energy going through my throat sometimes in my heart space. I also felt like the fear being transformed. So like, as I say, it's almost like you've switched now from watching a movie. Now you got like those 3D glasses on, and now you're seeing it all happen. So like even in my body, I felt that beautiful energy come up to my heart, but I also felt all the other stuff which I hadn't felt. So like the fear in my solar plexus, I felt that slowly transforming. So I'd like feel the fear, and then I'd see it transform. And it just felt very vivid. And like, I think it's a beautiful experience. My motto is even so I allow peace to flow. So I don't judge any of these experiences. But I do think if you are going to do dry fasting, it's going to be a lot smoother for you if you already well equipped with meditation, emotional regulation, energy cultivation. It'll make it easier. That being said, God's power is doing all the work. So if you feel called, go for it. Like I don't want to limit anyone's capacity, because all of this healing is happening through God's power. Because think about it, I got all of these beautiful benefits, and all I was doing is breathing. Just breathing the divine breath of life that is from Source. So all I did was just literally go back to Source. And to go back to Source is to do nothing, and to do nothing is to be. That's what fasting is. You're just being. You're being yourself. You're going back to basics. Which shows how far we've drifted in this reality, how far your average being has drifted away from the truth. That's what's so interesting. I did nothing. I did nothing, and I got all these beautiful benefits, because that's what this whole process is. And so yeah, like from an energetic perspective, it was really vivid. If you've done meditation, you can see, like, as you sit with presence on something, you can feel it change. It was very similar to that, except like you can see you meditating the whole time now. And as that is transforming, you feel it a lot more. So if there's pain, you feel it more. At the same time, the beautiful energy, you feel more as well. You feel that divine love so much more as well. As I felt that beautiful love shoot through my heart, near my heart, throat area, I felt that as well. And one thing I want to say, so that this was more the first 2 days. Now, what was very interesting, I called it a 3.5. My goal is 3.5. I started with a 1-day water fast. And then my whole goal was I want to do 3.5 days of dry fasting. And then, I did plus minus, once I broke the dry fast, I did plus minus another day of a bit of a juice, a bit of a water fast. So in total, the whole thing was 5.5, but I wanted my goal in the dry fast to be 3.5. What was so interesting is on the third day, once I'd experienced all this denser stuff which had come up, on that third day, I felt so revitalized, which was so interesting. So this is another thing it taught me, your energy can shift so quickly. And I felt that even throughout the first 2 days. Your energy can shift so quickly. You can go from feeling the most dense energy ever to feeling so in tune with God's energy and with your own innate love within your heart so quickly. And that can shift in 5 minutes. So it showed me the transience of how transient energy actually is, and how there's no point in attaching to anything, because it's always moving, and it's always moving for you. Even the stuff which feels heavy, is passing through you. You aren't going through it, it's going through you. And it's healing you. You feeling that is ironically what leads you to feeling better. And nothing lasts forever. But what it taught me is how quickly energy can shift. I went from feeling some of the densest energy I've ever felt to, overnight, or even sometimes in a 5-10 minute, to feeling the most energy I've ever felt. So it was very trippy. It was super trippy in that respect, that, how quickly things can really shift. That's what it's me. But when people say just stay present with it, I now understand what they mean, because when you're in that state of just purity and you stay present with stuff, you start seeing alchemy at a deeper level. You start seeing that stuff shifts literally in an instant, because you're stepping into the timeless realm. That was the other thing. Time felt distorted, I'll be honest, particularly towards the third day. Time just felt distorted. It felt like I had been fasting for I don't know, time went slower. Time went a lot slower, I noticed. And it just felt like I'd been on that journey for it felt like that journey was a couple of weeks, even though it was 3.5 days. So time just distorted a lot. I don't know why. And it felt like that for a while after the fast. And my view on it is particularly after that third day, you pierce the veil, right? So you start piercing the veil of reality, and you start seeing past all these veils, the true timeless nature that you are. Everything's in flux at all time. Your true essence is the most divine, unconditional love energy, which is just moving. It's just moving around, and you start seeing that truly. You start seeing that truly at the probably at the 3-day mark. I truly felt at that 3-day mark, I felt like I was in between realms. Even when I was meditating, I could almost see I just knew intuitively, and I could see it partly. It actually tripped me out a bit. It felt like I'd taken a dose of some psychedelic at times, to the point I even had to open my eyes during the meditation. But I could tell, I'd pierced the veil. I was in between realms. And to be honest, I was feeling energetic. I just called it 3.5 because that was my goal. And I was in Fiji. To be honest, I just wanted to experience the food and culture there. So, but I felt at that 3.5 day mark, I could have actually gone longer. And this is why I'm saying it's an interesting process, because the first 2 days, I was even at the second day, I was questioning, why did I even do this? Because it was just so hard. And although I could feel the energy shifting, it just felt so hard. And then after I hit that third day, that's when I could truly feel a shift. Intuitively, the veil shifted. Your energy field has expanded so much. I could see how wide my energy field was. And that's probably how our energy field is at all time, until we start eating toxins. We start mentally, I think it's a mixture, to be honest. It's the eating, it's the mental stuff. I also had a beautiful corporate cleanse, which was so good for me. I suggest if you are going to do this, always just try to do it by yourself, just so that you can be present with whatever comes up and there are no outside influences. That's my own opinion. If you ever do it, at the same time, follow your heart on it. If you feel you want to be around people, follow that. All of this needs to come from within. That's what I've realized. Like, don't even go off like what I'm saying. Like, just genuinely listen to your heart on this. Genuinely listen to your heart. But that beautiful heart expansion of my heart field being, and I can see even now, like, honestly, I was supposed to do this video straight after the fast, but I feel like the benefits haven't stopped. Like, there's been so much stuff integrated and being transformed within me, even 2 weeks after the fast now. Literally, even 2 weeks after. And that's how transformative this process is. Because I felt I'm integrating so much more. I see things so much differently. I see things from the lens of the truth of who I am. Because you're going down to the core. You're cutting through all the noise. Any mask you have is coming off. I can tell you that confidently. Any mask you have is coming off. And keep in mind, like, I did 3.5. People go deeper. Like, you can go a lot deeper than what I did. But I knew, like, every mask I have is going to be burnt off. So when you come out of it, even now I've come out of it, like, I see things very differently. I see things from the perspective of, who am I? Like, truly, who am I? I'm, at the end of the day, like, the way I see it now is like, I'm nothing but love. I'm nothing but love. So now if I go and I'm in a situation where someone triggers me, what am I going to choose? Like what am I going to choose? Like, I saw throughout that alchemy process how attaching to all that stuff caused so much twisting of my energy within. Now I like look at these things and I'm like, how do I want to see this? How do I want to see this? I've seen the truth of who I am. I've seen I'm pure unconditional love. I've seen I don't need half of what, not even half, like 99% of what society's pitched me. All of this food, water, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, they don't have their place. Like, you can get dehydrated when you're doing these things. You can have nutritional, all of that stuff can, but then at the same time, if you're skilled enough in energy cultivation, in my own opinion, you must figure this out for yourself. I don't like, this isn't medical advice or anything, but what it taught me, I knew intuitively I could have gone way further. I knew intuitively, like, if I just focused on God's power, on being in nature, meditation, qigong, just cultivating as much energy, I knew I could take this far. Like, I knew I could take this, say, I don't know. It felt like, I can't say because I backed out at the 3.5 day mark, but I just knew I could have gone way longer. And I knew that, like, there was a sustenance beyond everything society had pitched. There was a sustenance beyond everything society had pitched. Food, water, all of that. I knew it. And it's one of those things where there's different degrees of sovereignty, right? Like, it's the most freeing process. Like, I feel like even now as I'm talking, as I speak, a lot of stuff just got burned off. A lot of falsehood got burned off. Masks, programs, old memories, old traumas. It got renewed, it got burned off. And I can sit here and act like, oh yeah, it's because I cultivated energy, I did. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I feel like that helped nourish me, but like, God does all the work. God does all the work. That power of God that we are, that dwells in our hearts, that we breathing in every single moment of every single day, is doing the work for us. The real question here is, how much are we going to allow that to flow through? How much barriers are we going to put in to be recipients of this divine love, of this divine sustenance? How much barriers do we want to put up there? And I mean that in all capacities, but what's so funny here is the most apparent barrier, which I'm seeing every single day, is what we are putting into our systems. And food's an obvious one, honestly. Like, the level of sensitivity your system comes out with, this is the other thing. I've not touched caffeine. I've had at least 3 coffees, at least 300 milligrams of caffeine every single day for 10 years. This is after this fast. I got so much energy, true energy, pure energy, and I have so much nervous system sensitivity now where I've not touched any of that stuff. And now, like, even like when I go near that stuff, I see what it does to my nervous system. Like, even if I eat something stimulating or like it. So this is what I'm saying. Like, although everything's energy, and although, God's power is always going to live within you, there's no obstacle, even no matter where you are in life. Like, realistically, God's grace can flow through you right now and get you way further than any dry fast. All fasting's doing is we're clearing the obstacles. We're clearing the obstacles and we're inviting God. We're saying, hey, I don't want to do anything except tap into the divine source of love. That is the power of true God, direct source of God. I want to tap into that now. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove all obstacles being poisons, because 90% of food's poison. And I'm sorry, like I genuinely actually mean that. Like in the past, I would say that in a hyperbolic way. That's what this process teaches you, because once you finish this and you want to go back to eating societal food, your body rejects it. You're going to feel sick. Like, you're going to feel sick. So this is the truth. Most stuff on the shelf is poison. A lot of water which we're drinking is not clean. It's not pure. So this is like the levels it takes you through. It takes you through some pretty deep layers, to be honest. It takes you through some pretty deep layers. And it's just made me have such a beautiful appreciation for nature. Like, I can just feel nature a lot more, you know, like even as I sit under this tree, I can feel this beautiful gift of the energy of this tree running through me. And that's a divine gift. And like, the truth is, we're always feeling it. It's just, are we of a sober mind to see it? Because this is what I realized, like a lot of this food, a lot of food's a drug. A lot of these stimulants we take are a drug, but particularly food, like sugar, all of this stuff, it's a drug, and it impacts your nervous system a lot more than you think it does. I've meditated, I've done Qigong. A big reason as to why I think I went so deep into that is because I had all these toxins. Like, I'm still meditating, I'm still doing that stuff, but I'm actually, since this thing finished, ironically, I've been meditating a lot less because I don't actually feel the need to, because I feel like so much nervous system healing went on. My nervous system just feels so calm, and I think there are many layers to it. I'm not going to go into all of them. Could be some bugs that cleared out. It could be emotional debris. It could be the detoxing of all the stimulants. It could be the scars. Who knows? Who knows what level? I know it happened. I know healing happened at every single level. That much I do know. And yeah, it's just been a divine process, and it's taught me by far that the biggest program which the Matrix has ever thrown at anyone is the food. Food's controlling people. I don't think we're meant to eat anywhere close to what we are. I don't think we're meant to even eat every single day, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know. I actually think the truth is, and I'm going to actually go out there and say it, and as I said before, it's not medical advice. But yeah, I genuinely, you've already seen there's a lot of breatharians out there. Yeah, having gone through a process myself, I would go on a limb and say it's legitimate. It's a legitimate form of substance, just living off prana. And I do think there's a degree of prepping the body, you know, like I don't know if it's an overnight process. I do think through God's process maybe it could, but I think it's an incremental process. Like, I only got here after a year of water fasting. I felt like my body was ready to face what needed to be faced after already doing a lot of that detoxing. But yeah, it's going to pierce through every layer. It is going to pierce through every single layer. Every single layer. You're going to be seeing stuff for what it is. And it's the more you see, the more you see. You see that now. You've seen all those beautiful experiences during the fast. Now when you go back into normal life, your normal's changed. Your whole perception, because your bandwidth, your observational bandwidth, even that observational bandwidth I had, which was even more hardened when I was fasting, it's still there. Like, I can see so much more now. I also feel like I'm a lot more intuitive. Like, there'll be certain things where you just become more in touch with your heart. So your heart's guidance is clearer. There's a lot more clarity. There's not all this noise going on. And I think a lot of that noise is the, you know, old waters within and the old programs. But I also think it's like the food. It's all this crap we're putting into our body, which is just overstimulating that. So what it taught me is to not overlook the mechanical end. Everything's energy, 100%. Everything's through God's power. But use your responsibility to not put artificial blockages in the way to ensure that God's grace, which is unconditional, is as potent as it can be in your life, as visceral in your life as it can be. And part of that means controlling what's going into your body. And that's in all capacities. It's mental, you know, like where you're putting your focus. What movies are you watching? You know, how do you view partners in relationships? Are you looking at things with the sober mind? This just, ultimately, to sum it up, it taught me the true value of a sober mind. And what made it so intense is, like, I could see that sobriety slowly shifting as I went deeper into the fast. So at the beginning, I could see my mind's cleansing, and I could see all that stuff just get detoxed. I could see it. So it's a gradual process. Like you see, it's almost like you're shifting from being drunk to being sober. That's how I can describe it. It's like shifting almost. And I want to make it clear, like there's degrees to this. I'm not saying that like if you're not in like a fasted state, you're not sober. Like we all sober. We all present in God's love. What I'm trying to say from these things is like how clearly do you want to see the truth of love that you are? And that's what I mean by like present. That's what I mean by sober, these drunk. What I mean by drunk is like these things create illusions up for us which stop us from seeing the truth and embodying the truth of love, that beautiful energy that we are. So yeah, I guess these are all the things I learned, but yeah, it's going to peel everything away. It's going to peel everything away. And yeah, I don't know, like I do genuinely feel like I was meant to make this video for someone. And yeah, like if you have any questions, like please feel free to comment. But to sum it up, it was the most rejuvenating experience I've done probably ever. It was the most rejuvenating experience mentally, physically, spiritually, and most importantly, energetically. I can feel, that's the last thing I actually want to touch on. My energetic channels feel so clear. Even as I take a deep breath right now, I can literally feel the energy run through each of my energetic channels. Like the level of how clogged up your energetic channels get can be quite ridiculous, but you won't know that. Like I didn't know that because it's all degrees, right? I would have said my energetic channels feel very clear before I did the fast. But this is my point. It opens up new perspectives to how divinely energetic being in a body can feel, but not even just like your physical body, your energetic body, like at every layer of your existence, how lively and vibrant your experience can be. So that's the other thing. Like when I meditate now, even like when I'm meditating, my mind steadies itself so much quicker. And I don't know if that's the detoxification that happened at a physical, emotional, I know it happened at every layer, but my energy channels just feel so much clearer. I feel like a lot less sticky. So like if I'm around denser energies, I feel like it doesn't stick as much. I don't know if that makes sense. I just feel like the divine flow of love that I am is being projected outwards in a more potent way, and a more concentrated way, and a more clear way. But yeah, like my energy channels feel so much clearer. Like it is ridiculous how unclogged I feel energetically. And as I say, I've been very diligent. I've been meditating every day. I've been doing Qigong. I've been doing water fasts. Even after doing all of that, the fact I felt such a big improvement, I feel shows you how powerful this process is. It's a divine process. And yeah, like as I said, just like final tips, if you're going to do it, in my own experience, like make sure you do it right. There are lots of videos, like Ray Moore has a lot of good videos on how to prep. I would watch those. Make sure you're doing it by, in my own opinion, this is just my own view, if you feel more comfortable doing it around people, do it, but do it by yourself and do it with intention. Like I set a lot of intention. My main intention was just to get divine guidance from God in all capacities. And like, I think at a deeper level, it was like to not return, to have such a divine renewal that I wouldn't be returning as the same person. And I don't think I did, because once you have a consciousness shift that strong, you can't return the same, because you're just seeing things with so much bandwidth, with so much more clarity that, and I know I've said this many times, and I've actually stolen this one. Another good person who covers this stuff is Jerome Shaw. I've actually stolen this line from him, but it's so true. It's the more you see, the more you see. The more you see, the more you see. So yeah, it's hard to come back the same after you've just felt all that energetic alchemy go on, all the emotional alchemy, all the physical alchemy. Like I could feel stuff moving in my body, and I could feel it at the energetic level, the physical level. And yeah, the other thing is also like, and I'm just having all these flashbacks. I know I've said this is the last thing like 10 times, but I felt like one thing I've been working on a lot is like fascia, because I had a lot of surgery. I've also come to realize, I got guided. I just got like this intuition, I need to look into fascia, and I have been. And It's been a beautiful experience, doing a lot of healing on my fascia. I feel like after doing this fast, like my fascia feels so amazing and so much better. I had a lot of fascia healing to do because I had a lot of surgery, which I think impacted that. And I just feel like it's helped that so much as well. And your fascia, I'll have to make another video on that, but that is a big way to also just feel better energetically. Just releasing your fascia. And that's why Qigong's so potent. Qigong actually works a lot on your fascia. But yeah, okay, so what are we sitting on? 35 minutes here. It's a beautiful length, isn't it? So yeah, as I say, I still feel like if you have any questions, please comment. Maybe I'll make another video on more summarized, but I felt like I needed to make this one. I guess the long story short is, if you are looking for a divine renewal in all capacities, energetically, spiritually, mentally, and your heart has been calling you to do dry fasting or any fasting of any kind, listen to that voice. Listen to that voice, because there's a very, 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 very good chance that voice has come from the divine love of God to heal you and get you to see things in a beautiful way and to just renew you in all capacities. So that's probably, just had a last flashback come up. The other thing I would say is, like, throughout the process, I was doing some prayer. And I just felt like we always connected to God, always, because ultimately we being powered by Source, we always connected to Source. But there was actually one night where I was struggling to sleep, and I just set intention. I said, you know what, God, through your divine love, through your divine power, just help me to sleep, because it's pretty hard, because your cortisol can spike when you're doing these dry fasts. And honestly, and I'm not even like making this up, I felt like in a split second I was like asleep. Like I was like, I knew I'd gone to sleep, but I could see it while I was awake. But I knew I went to sleep at that moment. I can't explain it. It was the strangest thing ever. And then even like when I was in that state, almost like this lucid dreaming like state, I was just praying to God, and I was just like asking God, and I don't want to go too much into that because I feel like it's personal, but I just felt like whatever I was asking in prayer in that moment, just that connection with God got strengthened so much as well, which was so beautiful. We always connected. God's always answering you instantaneously anyway, but I don't know. It's almost like, like in your house, when you have Wi-Fi, you can get like those signal boosters. The signal's always there with God, but it almost felt like, I've got an extension cord. It just felt really quick. So yeah, that sums up all of it. But yeah, if you're on the fence, this is your message. Give it a go in your own way, in your own space, and in your own time. And yeah, I wish you all the best and wish you nothing but peace, love, and joy, and an always good week ahead.